Welcome to the Military Buyback Program and Enterprise Services Onboarding Training. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Tracy Kulik, and I'm the Director of Change Management and Communications for Enterprise Services. We're excited to have this time with you to discuss the Military Buyback Program. Today, we'll be spending most of our time working through 4 training modules. First, I'll provide an overview of the Military Buyback Program so you understand your options, your eligibility requirements, and how your military service deposit is calculated. Then, we'll talk briefly about enterprise services. Next, we'll detail the enterprise services role in the Military Buyback Program, including the division of responsibilities between enterprise services, local HR, and the employee. And then we'll end the course by reviewing the resources available to you after today's session. Let's dive in. As a veteran of the Department of Commerce, your local HR and enterprise services have collaborated to provide you the benefits of the Military Buyback Program. Military Buyback Program is a benefit available to all veterans with active duty military service time to receive credit for that military service time. Federal employees who served in the military can buy back their service time and add it to their years of civil service and increase their retirement annuity. This buyback is completed by making a military service deposit to your retirement. Now let's discuss military service deposit eligibility. Certain military service is considered creditable and eligible for the Military Buyback Program and military service deposits. Creditable military service is active duty in the uniformed services that is terminated under honorable conditions. Service that is not creditable, dishonorable discharge, clemency discharge, neutral or uncharacterized discharge, or officer dismissal. Who's eligible to make a military service deposit? Employees that are currently covered by the Civil Service Retirement System, or CSRS, the CSRS offset, or Federal Employees Retirement System, or FERS. Spouse or former spouse of an employee who passed away while working for the federal government, but who had yet to make their deposit, and the spouse or former spouse is entitled to a survivor annuity. When can a service deposit be made? If an employee has creditable service hours and is eligible for a military service deposit, then they can make a military service deposit at, generally, any time prior to separation from the agency, or before the survivor's application for a military service deposit is finalized, as the decisions selected on the form are final. Your military deposit is the money paid into the CSRS or FERS retirement fund for a period of active military service performed after 12/31/1956. The deposit builds on both your period of service and your military basic pay. Your period of service is the total years, months, and days from the date of initial entry on active duty to the date of final discharge or final release from active duty. A period of service includes consecutive periods where there's no break. As little as 1 day will break service into 2 periods. Military basic pay is that total basic pay received by military members when the service was performed. This does not include allowances such as flight pay, combat pay, etc. Your amount of military deposit is based on the percentage of your military base pay while in the military plus interest. Typical rates are for CSRS 7%, and for FERS 3%. There are 2 methods for calculating the amount of your military deposit: the regular method and the alternative method under the USERRA, or the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act of 1994. The regular method involves computation from total basic military pay and does not include any period the employee received civilian pay in which retirement deductions were withheld. The alternative method is different in the sense that the amount of military deposit before interest cannot exceed the amount of civilian retirement deductions that would have been deducted from an employee's civilian base pay. The amount is calculated that would have been withheld from the employee's civilian basic pay while on leave without pay, and we subtract the retirement deductions actually withheld from civilian pay that the employee received while on leave without pay. Now, in case you're unfamiliar with us, we want to share some information on enterprise services and how we're here to help you realize your benefits. This slide shows a brief overview of enterprise services vision and mission. And with us, veterans can initiate requests for pay, benefits, time, leave, and attendance, access helpful resources and links to external sites through the portal, and then of course request assistance via the phone, email, and the portal. Enterprise Services provides a variety of services, resources, and benefits. We are a single point of entry that enables intuitive self-service for in-scope customer requests. You can initiate actions for HR, acquisition, and IT services. Knowledge materials are on demand, and there are training resources as well that you can access at any time. You can contact us for support, and you can also track the status of your request through real-time updates on the portal. Now let's talk about the role Enterprise Services plays in the Military Buyback Program. The employee, Enterprise Services, and local HR work together to complete the military service deposit estimate request, and if applicable, the payment. As an employee on the portal, you can request an estimate for your military service deposit, submit required forms, and then choose or decline to pay the service deposit and decide to pay in full or via payroll deductions. Outside the portal, you would contact the relevant organizations for required forms. Enterprise Services is responsible for reviewing your request, calculating and sending your estimate, and submitting documents for processing to external systems. Enterprise Services also helps set up your payroll reductions as requested and will adjust your service computation date to reflect your deposits. Now let's talk about submitting a military service deposit estimate request. Whether you are considering or already planning to initiate a military service deposit, you need to request the estimate from Enterprise Services. After you log into the portal, follow the steps outlined here to submit your request. Complete all the necessary fields and make sure you attach any relevant forms to this request. Once we receive it, you'll be notified that a ticket has been opened for you. If you want to learn more about how to track your ticket and what type of notifications to expect, you can refer to the Service Requests 101 topic page on the portal. When your estimate for military service deposit is finished, Enterprise Services will send you information through this portal via a to-do or an action required of you in order to complete your request. You should then review your estimate, determine if and how you would like to pay for your military service deposit, and submit the payment. If you decline to pay for the service deposit, notify Enterprise Services by adding a comment to the request. Enterprise Services will then close the request and the process ends. Up to this point, you are under no obligation to accept your military service deposit estimate. This is purely for informational purposes. If you choose to pay for the service deposit, you can pay the amount in full via a lump sum, or you can have the amount taken out via payroll deductions. Again, please provide your choice on your decision to Enterprise Services through the messaging function on the open request. If you pay in full with a lump sum payment, you'll log into pay.gov to submit that amount in full, or submit via check or money order to the Enterprise Services address on this slide. You can choose a payroll deduction, and Enterprise Services will directly apply that deduction to your check after you have informed us of your decision. Now we'll walk through the second action that you can complete on the portal, submitting a request to change your Service Computation Date, or SCD. While Enterprise Services will update your SCD during the military service deposit process, you can also place a request independently of that process if you discover your SCD to be incorrect. After logging into the portal, follow the steps outlined here to submit your SCD request. Complete all the necessary fields, make sure you attach any relevant forms that show that a change in SCD is needed. Once you submit your estimate request, you'll receive a notification that a ticket has been opened for you. Next, we're going to walk through how to submit a request to change your veteran's preference. In the Enterprise Services portal, you can set or amend your veteran status for preference over others in competitive hiring lists and also for retention during reductions in force. After you log into the portal, follow these steps. As with any request, you'll receive a notification that a ticket has been opened for you. Now that we've concluded the course content, we're going to wrap up our presentation by reviewing suggested next steps and additional resources available to you. Thanks again for joining today's training. For next steps, visit and bookmark the Enterprise Services portal for announcements, resources, and support materials. Initiate your military service deposit estimates. Determine the payment for your military service deposit. If you have any questions, please reach out to Enterprise Services HR Service Center, open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. And then finally, We covered a lot of material today, and you may need some reminders as you go to perform your responsibilities. Training resources available to assist you are here on this page. We've put together this table so that you can explore the different training resources related to enterprise services, military service deposits, and any other veteran-specific actions. We appreciate your time and your participation in today's military buyback training and hope that you now have the information and resources you need to complete your requests. Thank you.